Hello, welcome back. It's been a minute. I kind of gave up on some of the booktube things for the month of August. I didn't do a TBR or anything. But here I am. I have a book I want to talk about, so we're going to do that. And I do have booktube stuff coming up because I do want to participate in Becca and the Books Bookopalathon, which is the month of September. So that stuff is coming. I just needed a break because I've been having a humongous reading slump. And I'm kind of coming out of some of that, so I think Bookopalathon will hit at a good time for that. But yeah, anyways, now that I'm babbling, let's actually just talk about this book that I've got to talk about. So, this book is called Finalists by Rae Armantrout. This is a book that I picked up. It was at the library in like the new releases kind of section. And I was just kind of browsing. I was curious about it. Just kind of like looking at it. It's like, oh, this is a pretty cover. I wonder what this is. And it's a poetry book. I don't remember if specifically the section said it was like a new release in poetry, or if I like picked it up because of cover and stuff and was browsing through it briefly and was like, oh, it's poetry. Poetry sounds good. That's a mood. All that kind of thing. But anyways, it was poetry, and I was like, I'm kind of in the mood for some poetry. So I picked it up, and I started reading it, was really enjoying it. And then because I'm like taking my time with the poetry and trying to kind of vibe with and understand maybe the writing a little more and stuff is part of my slowly reading through this, I decided to read about the author. And in the about the author, it says that they're a Pulitzer Prize winning author. And I was like, oh boy, look at me. Somehow I managed to pick up a book by a Pulitzer Prize winning author without even knowing it. But just for that, I did really enjoy all this poetry. I can see why Rae is a Pulitzer Prize winner. This was a fascinating read. I love it. So it was a lot of just fun poetry that way. Some general thoughts on it. There's sort of that slice of life feel to a lot of the poetry, but there's also kind of some scientific topics that get delved into in some of the poems that I really enjoyed. Just the way that the words express themselves. Sometimes I was like, I don't actually know what you're trying to say, but I love the way that you're saying it. And that was kind of the vibe I got from the whole book. And I really enjoyed it. I want to pick up more poetry from this author because they're a Pulitzer Prize winner, and they've got 15 books out there, so I want to pick up some more and see if I like some of the other poetry as well, which I imagine I will, because I didn't really dislike any of the poetry that was in this. But, as I like to do, I do want to read some poem, because that's just how I like to do this. Okay, so the first one that I want to highlight, I think I'll do just two. There are plenty in here more that I liked, but I think I'll just do two. But the first one I want to highlight is called Guided Meditation. Picture small fish nibbling at your aches and pains, tasty morsels. Imagine moments replicating several hazy trees. Imagine there are no such things as moments. As birds skip in paired flight like school kids, your pulse flutters. I'm like, if that isn't just the vibes for being in a meditation, you're like picturing things, it's like here we're giving you an image, focus on this, all of that, and just like the touches of imagery here, the pacing of the poem is nice and slow, like the deep breathings of a meditation is really beautiful. I really liked this one. So that's part of why I wanted to share that one. And then, as a writer myself, one that really resonated with me is this poem called Loose. And so yeah, this one I feel like vibes well with the writer side of me, so I'm going to read Loose as well. What I want in a word is the difference between the loose-petaled sunset or salmon-colored rose and the tightly folded whirl of the pale lavender beside it, along with their mutual refusal of red. Those watercolored clouds, I'm glad I got them off my chest. And like, beautiful imagery within this as well. I love the use of like the colors and things and all of that, but also just the idea of we're trying to express things with these words that don't entirely express what we want to say, or we can't find the word that really expresses what we're feeling. Totally get that as a writer. Totally love that. So yeah, I wanted to share that one as well. But yeah, if you're interested in this collection after my brief review of it and my reading of those poems, I highly recommend picking it up. Also, there are 15 other books by Rae Armantrout that are out there that are also poetry that you might enjoy as well if you like poetry books. I'm certainly going to be trying to find more of them to delve into. But yeah, if you happen to have read any other Pulitzer Prize winning poets, or if you've read any of Rae Armentrout's books, feel free to comment down below, share some thoughts. I'd love to have some conversations about poetry. But I think that's all I've got for now. This is the Umlaut Harper signing out.